The sky burned red over the shattered plains of Velmara. Fires danced across the horizon as if the stars had fallen and set the world ablaze. Ships crashed like thunder, raining sparks over broken cities. The war came without warning. One moment, the galaxy was in talks of peace, and the next, half the moons were gone. No one knew who fired first, but everyone was bleeding. Jace was only a mechanic, not a soldier. He had fixed more engines than he'd held weapons. But when the human outpost on Velmara got hit, he didn't wait for orders. He ran into the fire, pulling survivors from collapsed towers and dragging the wounded across ruined roads. His hands were black with ash and his chest burned from smoke, but he didn't stop. That's when he found her. She wasn't human. Her skin shimmered like a jewel-bright violet, glowing one moment, deep blue the next. She lay beneath fallen stone, her breath shallow, her eyes flickering with pain and fear. Jace hesitated for just a second. Then he dropped to his knees and began pulling the rubble away. She didn't speak at first, only stared at him with eyes full of fear. She was an alien girl, barely dressed in a torn robe that had once been gold. Her arms were bruised, her lips cracked. When he touched her shoulder to help lift her, her skin changed again, turning soft pink. She flinched at his hand, then whispered something in a language he didn't know. Jace didn't care what species she was. She needed help, and he was the only one there. He picked her up gently. Her skin pulsed in colors as his arms wrapped around her, like her body reacted to every movement, every breath. She wasn't just wounded. She was scared, and her skin betrayed every emotion she tried to hide. The walk back to his camp was slow. She clung to him, weak but conscious. Every time he spoke softly to calm her, her skin would turn warmer soft, rose or golden orange. When a distant explosion made her tremble, her skin flashed violet again. Jace realized she couldn't control it. Her body showed everything she felt. The camp was a mess. Injured soldiers lay on mats, medical bots were down, and food was short. When Jace entered with the alien girl in his arms, people stared. Some reached for weapons. But he stood tall, looking every one of them in the eye. "She's hurt," he said, his voice hard. "She's not the enemy." He laid her down in his bunk, gave her water, and covered her in a clean blanket. She watched him carefully, her breathing slow, her colors finally calming. When he turned to leave, her hand reached for his wrist. Her touch was light, but her eyes begged him not to go. Her skin turned soft silver as she held him there. That night the camp was quiet. Too quiet. The wind carried the sound of far off ships, and every soldier slept with a hand on their weapon. But Jace sat near her. She hadn't said a word since that whisper under the rubble. Yet something in her eyes spoke louder than any language. She wasn't just a survivor. She was important. Jace didn't know what she was or where she came from. But something about her skin made him wonder. Was it natural? A condition? A biological defense? Or maybe her emotions were more than just feelings, they were signals. Signals someone might be hunting. The firelight danced on her skin. Her face was peaceful now. But Jace stayed awake, watching her chest rise and fall. Something inside him told him this girl was more than just a victim of war. She was a key to something bigger. Something neither side understood yet. And for now, she was under his protection. Morning light fell on the ruins like gold dust. Ash still hung in the air, but the fire had burned out. The alien girl stirred in the bunk, her skin shifting slowly from soft silver to a pale blue. Jace had not slept. He sat beside her, arms crossed, watching the horizon for more ships. The camp was waking up. Soldiers moved like ghosts, tired and bruised. No one spoke to Jace at first. They avoided the girl, whispering behind crates, wondering if she was dangerous. But none of them came near, not after the look Jace gave them last night. She opened her eyes fully now. Deep violet eyes with small specks of white, like stars trapped in her pupils. Her lips parted as if she wanted to speak, but she hesitated. Her hand reached up and touched her own chest, confused, as if checking that she was still alive. Jace knelt beside her, holding out a ration pack and a metal cup of clean water. She didn't take it at first. Her gaze stayed fixed on him. Then, slowly, very slowly, her skin turned a warm amber, and she reached out with trembling fingers. He helped her eat. Small bites, careful sips. She couldn't stop watching him. Every time he spoke, her skin reacted. A flicker of red when he asked questions. A flash of gold when he smiled. She didn't seem to know what was happening. Her emotions showed on her. Skin like a living map, Jay stood and glanced at the others. A few soldiers still stared. He knew what they were thinking. She could be a spy, a weapon, a trap. But something about her didn't feel like a threat. She was gentle and scared. That fear was real. It showed in the soft lavender shade of her hands. He grabbed an old datapad and began drawing shapes. A house. A tree. A star. She leaned in, curious. He pointed to each and spoke slowly. Home, he said. Earth. She mimicked the sound. Earth. Her voice was soft, unsure, but it made Jace smile. He then pointed to her. She looked confused. He tapped her chest lightly and asked, Name? She blinked, unsure. Her skin turned a strange shade, half orange, half pink. Then she pointed at herself and whispered, Lyrian. That was the first word she gave him. A name, Lyrian. Jace repeated it with a nod, Lyrian. She smiled faintly, and for the first time, her skin glowed with a gentle white light. Later, the commanding officer came to Jace's tent. His armor was scratched and his eyes were sharp. She doesn't belong here, he said. She's not one of us. Jace didn't argue. He just stepped between the officer and Lyrian's bunk. She's not a soldier, Jace said. She's not armed. She needs help. The officer frowned. That's not our job anymore. Our orders are survival, not charity. But Jace didn't move. Lyrian sat silently behind him, her skin dim and still. After a long pause, the officer sighed and walked away. You watch her. If anything happens, it's on you. Jace nodded. It already is. The rest of the day, Jace stayed close to her. He found a long coat and helped her cover her shoulders. She still flinched at loud noises, and every sudden sound turned her skin a deep purple. But she didn't hide from him. She followed him when he moved, silent and cautious. In the evening, a storm rolled in. Thunder shook the trees, and the wind carried dust into the tents. Jace worked fast to cover the gear. When lightning flashed overhead, Lyrian cried out. Her skin blazed bright red. Jace ran to her and wrapped his arms around her to calm her. She buried her face in his chest, trembling. Slowly, her skin cooled again, fading to blue. Safe, Jace whispered. You're safe now. Her hands gripped his shirt. She didn't answer, but her skin told him everything. Later, after the rain, she touched his hand. Her fingers were cool. She pointed to his chest and said, Jace? He nodded, yes, Jace. She said it again, this time with warmth. Her skin shimmered with soft pink and gold. That night, Jace lay beside her bedroll, not touching, but near enough for her to feel safe. Her skin glowed like moonlight. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but he knew one thing now. He wasn't just protecting her anymore. Something was changing between them. Lyrian had begun to speak more often. Her words were broken, but she tried. Jace helped her every morning, showing her objects, repeating their names. She pointed, copied, learned. Her skin always glowed in soft pulses when she was proud of herself. Others still kept their distance. Some watched her with suspicion, others with fear, but no one dared act on it. Jace had made his place beside her clear. He wasn't just her protector anymore. He had become her anchor. One afternoon, as Jace checked the solar panels near the cliff's edge, Lyrian followed him silently. She liked walking barefoot, feeling the earth. Her skin reflected the wind-calm blue as it brushed through her hair. Then suddenly, it turned black. Jace turned fast. "What's wrong?" he asked, stepping toward her. Lyrian was frozen, staring into the sky. He followed her gaze. Above them, in the clouds, was a silver streak. It wasn't a bird. It was a ship. Not human. The streak vanished into the clouds, but Lyrian kept staring. Her lips trembled. Her hands shook. Her skin shifted between green and red and white. Jace reached for her shoulder. "You know that ship?" he asked. She nodded once. That night, she drew with a stick in the dirt. Circles, lines, triangles, symbols. Jace watched as she traced a star, then a burst around it. "Explosion," she said. Then she drew a symbol that looked like her people's armor. She pointed to it and said, "Hunt." He understood. That ship was one of theirs. And they were looking for her, not to save her, to find her. Maybe capture, maybe worse. Her shaking skin was now flashing in warning colors. She was terrified, the camp's leaders argued. "We don't even know what she is," one said. "If her people come, they might bring war to us again." Jace stood firm. They already brought war. She didn't. She was running from them. Lyrian stayed in Jace's tent, drawing more of her symbols on the cloth wall. Her skin stayed dark most of the time now. Only when Jace held her hand or brushed her hair did it soften. Her body responded to his touch like it was the only thing she trusted. He built a transmitter from broken drone parts. It was weak, barely reaching orbit, but enough to scan signals. Lyrian helped him, her fingers fast and careful. She pointed to certain frequencies and shook her head. "Trap," she said. Then she pointed to another and whispered, "Safe." Together, they decoded a pattern in the signals. A looped message. It was a warning, sent in her people's language. Jace couldn't read it, but Lyrian translated what little she could. Object lost. Recover alive. Kill if resisted. He looked at her in silence. "You're the object?" he asked. She lowered her eyes and nodded. Her skin turned pale gray, the color of sorrow. He knew now why she never smiled for long. She had escaped more than a crash. She had escaped a prison. Jace made a plan. If the ship returned, they would hide her. The cliffs had deep caves, old mining tunnels long forgotten. Lyrian listened carefully, nodding. She touched his chest again and whispered his name. Her skin turned golden again, that night for the first time she spoke a full sentence. "I feel, when you near," she said. Jace sat beside her, stunned. "You feel safe?" he asked. She nodded, then reached for his hand. Her fingers trembled, but she didn't pull away. The air outside grew colder. The camp's power flickered. There were whispers of another strike. Some believed the war never ended. Others feared it was only just beginning. But inside the tent, there was a strange kind of warmth. Lyrian curled up beside Jace, her body close but gentle. She didn't say anything more. She didn't have to. Her skin spoke for her. It glowed with peace, with quiet, and something softer than either. Something like hope. The morning was quiet, too quiet for comfort. Even the birds that sometimes flew near the cliffs were missing. Jace stepped outside the tent with a strange feeling in his chest. The sky was pale, and the wind carried a low hum in the air. Lyrian stood by the edge of the camp, staring into the sky. Her skin shifted colors faster than before, green, orange, blue, then settled into a strange glowing red. Jace reached her. Sighed. What is it? He asked. She didn't look at him. She only pointed upward. A shadow crossed the clouds. Large and smooth, with no sound at all. The shape moved like a predator, scanning the ground below. The same ship from before had returned. But this time, it wasn't hiding. It wanted to be seen. Panic spread through the camp. Soldiers scrambled for weapons, shouting orders. Some pointed toward Lyrian. It's her, one man said. They're here for her. Jace stepped in front of her without thinking. Nobody touches her, he said firmly. The commander stepped up. If that ship attacks, we lose everything. If she's the reason, we need to act first. Jace's jaw tightened. You touch her, you'll have to get through me. The commander's hand went to his sidearm, but he didn't draw. Lyrian stepped forward. Her voice was soft but clear. They hunt, she said. Me. She looked at Jace. I run. Her skin shimmered violet. Jace nodded. He grabbed his bag and pointed to the cliffs. Then we run together. They moved fast, cutting through the forest trail behind the camp. Jace knew the path. It was rough and steep, but led to an old tunnel dark and deep enough to hide from scanners. Lyrian kept pace, her breathing steady, but her skin pulsing with fear. The ship above didn't fire, but it hovered close, watching. Jace could feel its presence even through the trees. The deeper they went into the cliffs, the colder the air became. Lyrian slipped once, but Jace caught her hand. They reached the cave entrance just as the ship passed overhead. The tunnel yawned wide before them, the smell of old stone and wet earth filling their noses. Inside, it was pitch black. Jace turned on his lamp and held her hand tightly. Hours passed. The ship did not land. No soldiers followed. But neither of them relaxed. Jace found an old metal door in the cave, half buried in moss. They cleared it and stepped inside. It opened into an old mining station, long forgotten. There was power, just enough to keep the lights dim. Lyrian explored the room, touching old machines and wires. Her skin turned yellow, the color of curiosity. Jace watched her, amazed by how her body revealed every emotion. He checked the station's long-range scanner. It worked, barely. The signal showed the ship still circling the area. They're waiting, he said. Lyrian stood behind him, her hand resting gently on his shoulder. Suddenly, the monitor blinked. A pulse came through. A voice in her language. Lyrian stepped forward, listening. Her face went pale. They say I carry secret, she whispered. I not even know. Her skin faded to gray. Jace looked at her. They want you alive, he said. Not to save you, to use you. She nodded slowly. They fear me. Her hands trembled. Why? Jace asked. Lyrian placed her palm on her chest. Because I feel. He didn't understand at first. But then he remembered how her skin changed, how emotions shaped her body. She didn't just feel stronger than others. Her body made her feelings visible. That could be dangerous to the ones who only knew control. Lyrian sat on the floor beside an old heater, hugging her knees. Jace knelt beside her. You're not a threat, he said. You're just different. She looked at him with tired eyes. They not want different, she said. The night dragged on. They shared a small meal. The heater clicked softly as it worked. Jace leaned against the wall. Lyrian lay beside him, her head resting near his arm. Her skin glowed soft white, calm, gentle, quiet. Jace whispered, They're not going to take you. Not while I'm alive. Lyrian reached for his hand, lacing her fingers with his. Stay, she said. Her voice was low but firm. Her skin shimmered in gold. The mining station walls were damp and cold. Rust clung to every bolt, and old machines hummed with broken energy. Jace checked the power system again and found that only one generator still worked. It was just enough to keep the heat on, and the scanners blinking. Lyrian stood by the far wall, her hand brushing over faded writing in a language she didn't know. Her skin moved with her thoughts calm blue while she studied, then shifting to pale green when she turned toward Jace. She was thinking deeply again. Jace placed another metal bar across the door and secured it with wire. "We'll hold here for now," he said. "They don't know this place exists." Lyrian nodded slowly. Her skin flickered between yellow and orange. She was uncertain, but hopeful. In the back room, they found a cracked mirror still clinging to the wall. Lyrian looked into it, confused. She placed her hand against her reflection, watching her skin pulse with soft color. Jace came up beside her. "It's not broken," he said. "It's just old." She turned toward him and studied his face. "You do not change color," she said. Jace smiled. "No, I guess I hide my feelings better." She shook her head. "No, you feel strong, but skin is quiet." Her fingers gently touched his cheek. He placed his hand over hers, warm and steady. "Maybe that's why I need you," he said. "You show me what I'm too scared to say." Lyrian's skin turned a bright, glowing white, like moonlight on water. Suddenly, the scanner beeped. A sharp sound that echoed through the station. Jace rushed to the console. The ship was back, circling tighter. He cursed under his breath. They were narrowing in, trying to force her out. Lyrian stepped beside him, watching the screen. She pointed to the blinking dot. "They send message," she said. "I feel it." Her hands gripped the edge of the console. Her skin turned a deep orange. Alert, focused, afraid. Jace opened the comm panel. Static, then a broken signal. The alien language was fast and cold. Lyrian flinched. "They lie," she said. "Say they bring peace, but voice is sharp, not real peace." Jace shut off the channel. He turned to her. "Do you know what they want?" he asked. She nodded. "They want my light." Jace frowned. "Your skin?" She shook her head. "My truth. My feelings. It breaks their control. They fear what I show." Jace didn't fully understand it, but he believed her. Her ability to express feelings through her skin wasn't just rare. It was dangerous to those who ruled through silence and fear. Her emotions were a rebellion. He looked at the ceiling. "They'll keep coming," he said. "We can't stay here forever." Lyrian stepped forward. "Then we go up. Show light. Let others see." Jace turned sharply. "That's risky." Her skin turned golden. But right, they waited until nightfall. The ship hovered lower now, scanning the cliffs. Jace carried what supplies he could fit in a pack. Lyrian moved beside him with silent steps, her body glowing softly with each breath. They climbed out of the mining shaft and moved up the rocks. The wind was cold, biting at their skin, but Lyrian never stopped. She seemed drawn toward the sky. Like she knew. The moment was coming. At the top, the ship was above them. Massive and silver, like a floating blade. Jace lifted the transmitter they had built and powered it on. A light blinked red. "It's broadcasting," he said. "Let's hope someone else is listening." Lyrian stepped out from behind the rocks. Her skin glowed brightly now, waves of white, pink, gold, and deep violet. The ship's spotlight hit her, but she didn't run. She stood still, her hands open, her chest rising with each breath. The sky lit up. Not from the ship, but from her. Her whole body became a signal. A beacon. Colors flowed across her skin like a message written in light. She wasn't hiding anymore. She was declaring herself. Jace stepped beside her, placing his hand in hers. "They'll see you now," he said. All of them. Her voice was steady. Let them. Together, they faced the ship as the wind howled across the mountain ridge. The ship hovered above them in silence. Its metal body reflected the stars, cold and without emotion. No weapons fired, no voices spoke. Just the low hum of power filled the air like a warning with no words. Lyrian stood without moving. Her arms were still at her sides, her feet steady. On the rocky ground, her skin glowed in slow pulses. Not in fear, not in anger, but in truth. Every color she showed carried, meaning the enemy could not twist. Jace felt the tension in the wind. The crew inside that ship must have been watching, confused, unsure. They had never seen one of their own refuse control. They had never seen one stand with a human. They had never seen someone turn feelings into light. She lifted one hand into the air. Her skin flashed in a bright golden arc, then shifted into soft blue, then a vibrant green. It was not random. It was a message. She was speaking in a language only those born of her world could understand. Inside the ship, something changed. A new light blinked from its underbelly. A scanning beam reached out, slowly touching the earth around her. Jace reached for his pack, ready to run, but Lyrian placed a hand on his arm. "Wait," she said. Her skin calmed to white. "They listen." Jace stood frozen. "You sure?" She nodded. "Not all follow the same. Some remember. Some feel." The beam flickered, then shut off. The ship slowly rotated, showing no weapons, no threat. It hovered still for a moment longer, then rose higher. Its engines glowed soft green before it climbed into the stars without a sound. Jace let out the breath he didn't know he was holding. "They left?" he asked. Lyrian nodded. Her skin glowed golden as she lowered her hand. "They see now," she said. "They fear, but not all hate. Some wonder." Together they walked down the ridge, back into the forest trail. The night was quiet again. No ships, no gunfire. Just the sound of wind through the trees, and their soft footsteps against the ground. At the mining station, Jace packed what little was left. "We can't go back to the camp," he said. "They'll blame you. Maybe blame me too." Lyrian stepped beside him. "We go forward," she said. "Others wait." Jace looked at her. "You want to help others? Like you?" She nodded. "Many hide, many cry. They think they are alone. If they see my light, maybe they believe. Maybe they feel." They left before dawn. The mountain behind them faded into shadow. Lyrian walked with a sense of calm now. No longer afraid of who she was. No longer hiding her glow. Every step she took left a faint shimmer behind her. They crossed fields, climbed hills, and followed the stars. Every night, they stopped to rest under open skies. Jace built small fires, and Lyrian sat beside him, her skin glowing softly like fireflies in the dark. She told him more each night. About her world. About how her people were trained not to feel. How color was punished. How only the leaders were allowed to show emotion. Her gift had made her a danger to them. Jace listened, never interrupting. "You're not a danger," he said. "You're proof that emotion is not weakness." Lyrian smiled at his words. Her skin turned a warm peach as she leaned her head against his shoulder. One morning, they found a small town built on the edge of a crater. Human settlers lived there, mixed with a few alien families. Jace approached carefully, but the people were kind. They offered food and shelter. Lyrian helped. In the gardens, she touched the soil with care. Her skin turned green when she saw new life. Children watched her glow and laughed with joy. No one feared her. They saw beauty, not threat. Jace worked on old machines. He fixed broken water lines and solar panels. At night, He and Lyrian sat on the roof, watching the stars. "We are safe here," he said. Lyrian nodded, but her skin flickered orange. "You miss your world?" he asked. She thought for a moment. Not the silence. Not the rules, but yes, I miss sky, I miss colors. I want to go back someday. "With you." Jace looked at her, surprised. "With me?" She smiled. "You help me find light. I want them to see it too, not from fear, from truth." He reached for her hand. She held his tightly. Her skin turned a glowing white as the stars blinked above them. She had come from a world that silenced feelings, but now she had found a place and a person where she could shine. Months passed in quiet harmony. The town grew slowly, and the people grew closer. Humans and aliens worked together, planted crops, shared meals, and built homes from broken parts of old tech. Lyrian became a quiet part of every corner of the community. Children followed her through the fields, laughing and pointing as her skin changed color while she sang to the plants. Her voice was soft, and her words were simple, but the light from her skin always brought joy. Jace had never known peace like this. He no longer felt like a soldier or a repairman. He was simply part of something. He helped build water systems, trained the young in machines, and always made time for the one who had changed his world. Each night, they sat together under the stars. They said little. Lyrian rested her head on his chest. Her skin always turned soft white when she did. He knew by now that it meant trust. Safety, love. One evening, a new ship appeared over the horizon. It didn't belong to the enemy. Its markings were unfamiliar, and its shape was round and smooth like a floating shell. The people of the town stood still as it hovered over the sky. Jace stood in front of the community. His hand rested on Lyrian's back. She looked at the ship without fear. Her skin shimmered with calm gold. "These not hunters," she said. "They feel." "I feel it." The ship landed in the open field. Its ramp opened slowly, revealing 3 figures. 2 were like Lyrian tall. Smooth-skinned, elegant, but they had no glow. Their skin stayed flat, unchanging. But the third was different. She was smaller, younger. Her eyes were wide, and her body glowed faintly in blue. When she stepped out, she looked at Lyrian and gasped. Her hands covered her mouth as her skin flashed bright pink. Lyrian stepped forward, her glow soft and steady. The young alien ran to her and fell into her arms. Jace watched in silence as the others looked on in awe. The girl's skin changed quickly, pink, blue, green, then settled into a warm white. The 2 adults walked toward Lyrian slowly. One placed a hand on his chest and bowed. "We saw your light," he said in broken human tongue. "Across the TV stars, it reached us. We followed the signal." Lyrian nodded. "You are free now?" she asked. The elder alien shook his head. "Not all, but many begin to feel, many begin to change." He turned toward the crowd. "Your bond with this human, this truth, gave us hope." They stayed in the town for days. Lyrian taught the girl to shape her emotions with confidence. Jace watched as more families came. Some from the stars, some from old cities that had once feared anything strange. Now they were drawn to the light. The town became more than a shelter. It became a symbol. A place where no one had to hide who they were. A place where fear did not rule. Where skin could glow and hearts could be honest. Jace stood on a high ridge, overlooking the growing homes below. Lyrian joined him, rapping her arms around his waist. "This was never just about me," she said. "It was always about all of us." He turned to her and kissed her forehead. Her skin flared gold and pink. "No," he said. "But you were the one brave enough to shine first." That night, Lyrian stood before a gathering of hundreds. Humans, aliens, and glowing children sat together in silence. She raised her hand and let her body glow with every color she knew. Her light filled the valley like dawn. No one cheered. No one clapped. They just watched and understood. Some began to cry, others smiled quietly. Jace stood at the edge, his heart full. He knew this wasn't a victory of war. It was the beginning of something pure. The stars above shimmered brighter that night, as if the universe itself had seen what happened on that world. And somewhere, across other systems, others like Lyrian might have looked up and felt it too. In a place once burned by war, a girl who couldn't hide her feelings had turned her weakness into a gift. Her glow had started with fear, but now it burned with purpose, and beside her, a human who once knew only machines had found something worth protecting with his whole soul. They didn't change the galaxy with weapons or power. They changed it with honesty, with feeling, and with a glow that no fear could stop.